What's up, guys? An interesting rumor has been swirling around the web the past few days. Apparently, Legendary Pictures is developing another Warcraft movie. The studio dropped their first effort on the Warcraft franchise back in 2016. The movie was panned critically and failed to make waves at the box office. However, a strong international showing has seemingly led the studio to give the IP another go. The source of this information is Daniel Richmond, someone who has given reliable data in the past. While it's mildly surprising that Legendary is giving Warcraft a second shot, it's not totally shocking. The franchise has a ton of lore and a potential for box office success if done right. There's no word yet if this will be a sequel or a reboot. We also have no word on any of the cast returning. Given the poor performance of the first film, a total reboot is definitely not out of the question. I personally felt the first Warcraft movie was decent, but not great. I did actually enjoy it. The movie certainly could have been better, but there were some elements that were very well done. The orcs were pulled off perfectly. They looked amazing, and the voice actors did an awesome job. I thought their story was good as well. I'm glad they decided to go with the more recent lore of orcs being more complicated than simple bad guys. They were the most enjoyable part of the film to me. Durotan was probably the best character in the whole movie. He had some depth, and his voice actor was awesome. Gul'dan was fantastic as well. I can't say the same about the human side of the story. All of the elements were there for it to work, but it just didn't come together right. Part of the problem was that their story felt rushed. This is always going to be an issue with so much lore and so many moving parts. It's a common issue also when converting books or video games to movies. I can't say I connected with any of the human characters like I did with Durotan. Part of the problem was that the camp was cranked up just a bit too high on the human side, particularly with Anduin Lothar and Khadgar. Warcraft has always had some campiness to it, but it felt a bit much in the movie. It detracted from the epicness of the story, especially when contrasted with the story of the orcs. In order for Warcraft to work, they probably needed to narrow the focus to one character. Otherwise, it would have taken a trio of 3-hour movies just to get to the sack of Stormwind. I personally would have been okay with that, but I'm not sure if Warcraft could get away with a slow-moving epic on the scale of Lord of the Rings. Transformers is a good example. I'm talking about the first movie, not the inferior sequels that followed. Transformers is another franchise with a ton of history and lore. The first movie was able to succeed because it told a tight story around a main character. Even the aforementioned Lord of the Rings had a pretty tight focus around Frodo throughout the trilogy. There can be multiple strong supporting characters, but a mainstream movie needs a main character for audiences to focus on. We have to accept the fact that Warcraft might not work as a movie. When you look at other successful fantasy series, they all seem to be a bit more grounded in reality. There's not nearly as much flashy magic and fantastic settings as there is on Azeroth. I mean, how much wizarding did Gandalf really do? A good example of this phenomenon is the original Star Wars trilogy versus the prequel trilogy. The over-reliance on CGI and awe-inspiring shots in the prequels took away from the charm of the series. I kind of feel like Warcraft was a little guilty of this too. Everything looked amazing, but maybe too amazing. You become desensitized to it. Lord of the Rings had some amazing shots and settings too, but most of the series was spent walking through woods and fields and mountains. When you came upon something amazing like Rivendell, it really popped. On the other hand, I think Warcraft would be perfectly suited for a premium series like Game of Thrones or The Witcher. With up to 10 one-hour episodes, you would have plenty of time to flesh out characters and tell the whole story. With all of the content put out in the RTS games and WoW, you could easily crank out 5 to 10 seasons. This would be a better format for the franchise in my opinion. It will be interesting to see what direction they ultimately decide to go with. I kind of doubt we're going to see a direct sequel. I wouldn't be surprised to see them jump to a more popular portion of the franchise with like the Warcraft 3 story. Arthas remains one of the most popular characters in franchise history, and the Scourge brings the zombie genre to the table. If done right, this could be box office gold. Whatever Legendary decides to do, I look forward to watching it. The first flick didn't deserve any Oscars, but it was fun to watch. I really enjoyed seeing the characters I've read about for over 10 years come to life. I'm sure I'll enjoy their next offering as well. Well, that's all I got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my content, please subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.